Welcome, everyone. Sorry we were late a bit, but I think the technical issue is fixed now. We have a couple of attendees now. If you have any question, please feel free to put it in the chat. I also put this part which I am using. It's where I'm putting a couple of links that will be useful for you, or you can also follow up whatever we are doing after the session. So I put it in the chat here. Can you confirm in the chat if you can see this link, or if you can also see my screen? Please just give it a yes or no in the chat there, and then we can proceed. Does that work? Yeah, good. Okay, thanks. We start right away. Okay, what is this thing here? So this session, it's supposed to be about GIS or QGIS in your company or in your institution or wherever, and or either a small business or whatever you're doing. So we want to unlock the power of open source GIS in your company. It would be very nice if someone from the backstage can confirm that we are live and everything is good on the other side too as well. Okay, so without much ado, these are some links or resources I'll be using today. I am putting the link here and also in the chat. Please tell me if you cannot hear me, or also just feel free to post in the chat anytime. Okay, we will start with a quick introduction. This will not be like a PowerPoint slide. We have very few minutes, and then we'll be quick. But I might be too fast or too slow. But please feel free to press the break whenever it's too much. And this book, it's called Introduction to GIS. It's a free book. A free book meaning that you can copy, modify, and reuse it for whatever purpose. And the link is in the part link I sent to everyone. So we will look at basically introduction and some basic about data, because if you want to do this, you need data. Data is at the central, the core of if you want to do GIS, and then we'll also look at some data sources. So quickly, without talking too much, what is GIS? This could be a word you might have heard before. It could be from a university, or you've heard of this GIS. If you're from Ghana, someone might say, okay, maybe GIS stands for several things. Well, not Ghana Immigration Service, which is also GIS in abbreviation, but this is a Geographical Information System. So basically, GIS allows us to read, edit, and store, and then we also manage, analyze data, and this data needs a special component. So basically, the key terms here is reading, editing, and storing, and then all these three, generally we can say it's managing. So if you manage, you see, you access, you edit, you save, and we analyze. But this is a special component, and also excuse me, the thematic component of the data. And in the end, the output of a GIS analysis or a GIS system will result in a document, either a map, a report, or something that you can look at. So it's a tool that we can integrate in several domains, not only in the company, but in several domains. You see GIS applied in so many fields, from public health to computer science, energy planning, urban planning, forestry, and transport. The goal of today is to basically, we will look at where is the tab? A quick introduction to GIS, QGIS, and then we'll look at data source, play around some data creation and exploration, and then do one or two analysis, and also find out where we can get data from. So in order to do this, you need a system, a software called a QGIS, which is a free and open source software for geographic information system. So you can see GIS, as we saw here in the name again. we can go to the next chapter of interest here. It's the history. Maybe the history might not be of importance to many of us, but it's always good to have idea about where something is coming from. And fast forward, the first GIS ever known, I mean, it's from the Canadian Geographic Information System. So someone could say that, yeah, GIS in its early day was developed in Canada and started from Canada. And in GIS, we make use of two types of data. And data here, you can say, okay, you have a mobile phone, and then you need to make a phone call. And if you need to make a phone call, you need to have a call credit on this mobile phone, is that not it? And this mobile phone, if it is not on, you cannot use it. So here we can link the software we are going to use to the mobile phone, and also your contacts and whatever to the data on the mobile phone. So in GIS, we have two kinds of data. One is called raster and one is called vector. Confusing, right? Don't worry. We will find out. Looking forward in all this, the history, it's a bit long. I cannot look through all of them now. I put a link so you can read. We go to the next thing is I skip fundamentals. I go to data, which is a very important part of what we want to do here. Data is information, and then okay, data information and types of data in computing, maybe from your primary school. If you did a how do you call it, ICT, they will tell you that you ask you what is data, or they will be asking what is data, and then you say, oh, data is processed facts or information, etc., etc. And in data here, I mentioned that we have two types of data, which is vector and raster. And vector data, it's classified in three, mostly or in most of the times, three categories. So we have a point, we have a line, and a polygon. Look at all in these three here. So a point here could be used to represent, because if you need to represent things in a GIS system, in a soft system, you need to abstract them or compare them to what they will look like. So we can say here that a point could represent, or definitely represent, things that are points on the surface of the earth. For example, a tree, a traffic light, or maybe a signpost. And a line could represent continuous features like a road, a river, stream, a drainage system, or maybe a pipeline network underground, etc. And a polygon, you guess it right, closed areas, could be building, could be a school area, it could be administrative boundary, and many more. Looking closely at this, we can have the raster model here, so that was vector. The raster model or the raster data is made up of grids. We all take pictures with our phones. So if you have a selfie from your phone, any picture you take from your phone and you zoom in, or if you look at the picture regularly and you zoom, what you see is pixels, you see boxes. So these pixels, these boxes just store some value, which is making the information useful to you on the picture, in the picture you see. So, yeah, I already spoke about this, but yeah, it's popping up here again. So the vector model is what we use to model features on the surface of the earth. They represent most features. So points, I mentioned trees already. You can see trees scattered, and then they are represented with dots, and then they all have an attribute. So an attribute is the information attached to this feature. So we have the dots, and then it could be that this tree is having a height of 22 meters or 19 point something. And then we have lines representing river, stream, road, etc. And then polygons could also represent river, but close-in area or forest area, etc. Sometimes, okay, we will not go too advanced, we just be basic. So those are the basic elements that build up the model. So we have a vector and a raster, and in a raster, it's made up of grids. Compare this to a picture on your phone. When you zoom in, you see boxes. These are the pixels. And then in the vector model, we have points, lines, and polygon. These basic three models make up further ones. There could be multi-points or multi-elements, so that it's made up of either line, point, and other collection of items. And here you can see, so we have raster versus vector. The raster, of course, is grids, and the vector, it's lines, but with nodes on them. So points is the dots are the basic units of other elements. So whether a line or polygon, you will see that there is a dot in it, but they are connecting each other together. So you can see here in a polygon, either in a line, and also here in another polygon. But for a grid, it's boxes, just like if you remember brick games, it's that kind of box which is you see as the picture on your mobile phone. Yeah, this is advanced. We will not go outside that, because you could also generate vector data from raster, or generally vector data is being created from raster data, which we will look at. For example, you trace buildings or you trace roads from a raster image. So much of the talking, we will jump to data sources. So if you want to do GIS, you will need a data source. So data can be primary or secondary here. Primary or secondary in the sense that you yourself, you collect the data. So if you collect the data yourself, you go out there, you create it yourself, then it becomes a primary data. Or yeah, that is it. Creating it yourself, it's primary data, or not know which other definition I can use for it, but you create the data for yourself is primary. But secondary is the data coming from a created source. So this could be the municipal assembly, or you contact a company for their data and then you use it maybe for your research purpose or etc. Or also it's being created by someone and made up available publicly for free, and then you can access it, or you are paying for it. Remote sensing, another topic for another day, but this is just obtaining informations on features on the surface of the world without physical contact. So information without physical contact is remote sensing. We don't look at all these today. What else can we look at? Yeah, this is what we look at today. So digitizing. So after remote sensing is done, we have a picture. Some of you have seen, or we have seen satellite images from our phone, from maybe Google Maps or other one. This is as a result of remote sensing. But these pictures help us to create vital information. So georeferencing, digitizing of spatial information. We want to map all the billboards we have in Accra, or we want to map all the zebra crossings we have in Accra. With a satellite image that you can see it from, you can create this spatial information, which becomes a vector information. It could be done manually, automatic, but we start from manual today. I think this will be the end of the talking, and then we can jump into a QGIS itself. So where is my software? Okay, so this is a QGIS. It looks very plain and straightforward as a software when you launch it. And it's like, what can I do from here? It looks horrible. You don't see the powers of it by just looking at the buttons, but starting to do something. If we come to help menu here and we go to about, we see that this is a recent version of QGIS. You can find a code here, some other information about it, and if you need to see where it's coming from, you just go to the project website, which is QGIS here. Where is it? It's got hidden here. Okay, so in order to start using QGIS or GIS in your company, you first need to ask the question, why? Why do I need to adopt GIS in my company? We come from varying backgrounds or varying institutions. It could be that all you do in Accra is you do marketing, or you do sales, or all you do is transportation. GIS can be applied in practically almost every field that you find yourself. It would be nice that any of you here participating can put in the chat what kind of work you do, or in which field, or what do you do currently, and how do you want to apply GIS? Or maybe just tell me which kind of field you work in the chat, and then I will craft the next thing I do here around it. Can anybody drop something in the chat, please? I don't see anything now, so it's fine. So I assume that I work with how do you call it? What do I work with? Okay, I work with Environmental Protection Agency, or I work with a not-for-profit. Oh, someone says the chat has been disabled. How do we enable chat? Please, can somebody enable the chat for us? I don't know. Control actions. Okay. Okay, you see the link in in the chat. If the chat is disabled, then you cannot type. I have a part that I put in the chat, which is this link. I put it again. You can just come and then type. If you can see the link I just put, just come to the top of this link here. You can open it on your phone, and then everywhere. Just, you don't need an account. You can type whatever you feel like here, if that works for anybody. Okay, so I will assume that, so let's say, which industries? I will assume that I work with an agency that it's okay. Yeah, somebody's typing. Okay. Someone says pharmaceutical. It's okay. I would say maybe I work for fishing industry. I work for maybe a bank. Okay, finance. I went for maybe transport. Okay, someone says transport. Okay, so from all these, we can apply GIS in all of them. So quickly, I will just use a theoretical company, or I would say this is a company which is working with trash collection, or maybe just providing information about the dustbins in a city or something. Okay, so we go back to our QGIS here. So this is it. It's plain, nothing useful. We can see where we are. So we have the toolbars here. The toolbars here. These are all toolbars. They are dockable, so you can move them away. You can bring it back. They all have a name. If you right click, you can see them. You have the panels and then the toolbar. The panels are the ones you see to the left-hand side. Here, you can move them also. So I can move these layers here to this side. It all depends on what works for you and your workflow, or what you want to achieve. I can bring this completely out and move it out, or I can dock it here. So when you move it and to the end, it snaps and it gets there. You can undock. I move layers back to the bottom as it was. So by default, when you open, it's showing something. Oh, why doesn't it dock again? I close it, it's gone. Then I can go back to panels, and then there should be, no, there's two panels, and there should be layers panel, and you see it back here. Then I can bring it again. It's not docking, so you see it in the bottom here, layers and browser. Okay, so we want to start with exploring what is in the browser here. The one that is of interest is the XYZ tiles. I will put OpenStreetMap here because it's something we'll talk about later. So I put OpenStreetMap, and then we can zoom in, pan. So with the left click and move, you are panning, and then scroll wheel on the mouse, you zoom in. So we can zoom into Accra here, or just move around. Now, how is this useful? If I just put the map here, I can use, is Google Maps not there? That would be the first question somebody will ask. If you're just joining us, this part here, it's having the links to some of the things I'm using, and then you can also put, since the chart feature is not working, you can put your charts in this part. I will look at it regularly. Okay, so we want to start. What do we want to do? So the starting point is that let's say in this forest reserve, is a nature reserve. The boundary we want to, so we are assuming that this is not there, or we want to build a new village or a new settlement. Okay, this is a road from somewhere down here. We don't know what is in between this area. So we want to start a new development here, a new village somewhere here. Now we need data. Maybe somebody has already planned to create here, but it's new, so nobody has planned. So our data will not be primary, will not be secondary. It needs to be primary. So we want to create data. How do we create data? We want to create a vector data that is either points, lines, or polygon. So in order to create data, these menus cannot be explored, but we go to layer, and then we see create a layer. It's very easy. So layer, create a layer. Which kind of layer do we want to create? This can be a bit confusing. It's a bit confusing, of course, in the beginning, if this is completely new to you. I will use a geo package. There is a shape file, but I'll use a geo package. Shape file you can read about later, but shape file also just also a way of creating a new data or layer and sharing. So I'll create a new geo package. This geo package is like a database. So see it as an Excel sheet, an Excel spreadsheet, or a Word document. In a Word document, you have several headings, you have several contents coming to this Word document. So this geo package is a database and is equivalent to a Word document in which you can put many text, or see it as an Excel sheet. Unless it's an Excel sheet. In an Excel sheet, you can put several sheets in the bottom there. Is that not it? So let's say you have one for finances, you have one for maybe books, one for etc. etc. So we will create a bigger one as a database. So this I'll put in documents. It's always good to create a folder for your project. So this I'll create a folder. I'll call it ADSC. And then in this folder, probably I also want to create a folder for data. You want to organize, keep things organized. Maybe in this project you have photos, you have some other things. So I call this data. Oh no, I just typed it wrongly. Rename it to data. Open this, and then in this folder, I'll call it AD. I'll call it project database. Then I save, and then it asks me for a default table name. Now I don't want to create a default table name called project database. So in the beginning you decide. So I want to create, or you can just create with no geometry, but I want to create with trees. So I just say trees. And then what is the geometry type of this table name? Geometry type, you remember I talk about type of vector layers. So we are creating a vector layer. And then we have point, line, string is a line, polygon, and then I talk about multi, but we didn't look at it. So I want a point, trace a point. Now, if you're going to do GIS, there is one other thing that you cannot run away from. It's called the projection, or the CRS. So here you can see that this is a CRS. When I put a cursor on it, it complains. For now, let's just leave it to WGS84. Just leave it to this one. I will explain what else you can do later. So now it asks for fields, new field. These three should have a name. So I want it to have a name, or maybe let's say ID. Okay, for example, ID. And then this should be, should be ID. No, I will not ID. I'll add a height, yeah, of the three. So a height, it should be a number, right? Height could be decimal. So add. What else could we add? Maybe species. Species, or and then this should be a text. So a text is a string here. Then I add. Then I think this is enough for now. Then I click OK. Now you can see that in my layers panel, there is a new layer here. So these are all layers. You see something here? It's a dot. Right now, if I right click and show feature count, where is it? You don't see anything, 0. So let's say we want to just put a couple of trees around this road. Then we need to edit. We need to toggle editing on this layer. So you right click and then you toggle editing. And then I click add, and then I click. So I just click the right click, and then a menu pops up. So if you see here, an FID is automatically generated, and then the height is here. So height is, I said number. Let's try to put a text there and see if it works. So now I'm pressing my keyboard text, but it doesn't type. I put here 12.1 as the height of this tree. What is the species? It's a text. If you remember, I put a text. So I type here, maybe what is the species? Forgive me. I'll just put mango here. Forgive me if that works. So mango. And then I click OK. Now you can see on the map, we have a dot there. And then we have a 1 in the feature count. Now, how do I need to save this? So in GIS, some people say that, or in QGIS, and not all in QGIS and other systems, people say you have to save and save again. Yes. So now we are working in a project. This is a big project. And then if you save this project now, we have not saved it before. So I save it now. I go back to document this year, and then I call it ADSC. Now this project helps us to come back to the project. But in the project are layers. And these layers, if you edit them, you need to save them. If you don't save them, it's not saved to the project. So you can see here, we have from the old school floppy disk, you have a save a project, and this is save the layer edits. So if you are working on a layer and you are done with it, you will need to right click and save layer edits, or just click this one here. And then you can disable editing. And this save here saves the entire project. So this is for points. Let's look at the same for a line. So it's the same. You go to layer, create a layer, a new GeoPackage layer. Now, we want to keep our project in one GeoPackage, or maybe you can do separate. So if I want to do one GeoPackage, I will just select the project database again, this single one, and then select. But now the table name should be road. And then the geometry should be what? A line string, because this is not a point. And yeah, just leave this for now like this. We don't choose anything. We use a WGS84. Then I want the name of the road. The road should have a name, and then it's a test. What else should the road have? What is of importance here? Maybe the surface of this road. Surface is it asphalt? Is it concrete? Is it pavement stone? What else do we need? What else? Okay, maybe width of the road could be of importance. So this now should be decimal, so it could be 5.1. So we use a decimal, then I add. Then I think this is okay for me, then I add. So when I click add, because I choose an existing database, QGIS asks, the file already exists, do you want to overwrite it? No, I don't want to overwrite. All I want to do is to add a new layer to it. So if I add a new layer, you see we have roads at the top here now, and we have trees at the top. So now if I toggle editing, right click, toggle editing on roads, it's on roads now. So now over here, you see at the top here, this is add a line. For a point, if I toggle editing, if I right click, toggle editing is the same as the yellow pencil here. You see it's a point. So based on the geometry you want, this layer is changing on that. So we have a line, point, I'll add another layer. So create a layer, which will be a polygon, and then we can play around things. So we go here, this, and then I choose here, I call them maybe buildings. Buildings, geometry is polygon, as you can guess. I leave this like that. Maybe I have a height information for the building too, which should be a decimal, because we build decimal here. What else can a building have? What kind of attribute can it have? Maybe the building material, or maybe roof. So these are all things you decide on in your company, or things attributes that are important to you, or fields that are important to you. Maybe the building has a name. Let's just put it here. A building should have a street name or house number, but let's just keep a name, a text string, and then add. And then I think this is enough for now. I click OK. I don't override the entire layer. I add a new layer. Now, what is happening here? If you come to browser, QGIS is smart enough to understand that the project, we have put it somewhere. So you see the project is in the file system. If I right click and show files, you see that from this, there is a folder in documents called ADSC, and inside there's a folder called data, and then this is the QGIS project folder. It's just ads.qgz. And inside, this is our project database. It's just one file here. But when you look inside this folder here and in QGIS, it shows you all the layers that we have. You see them? So we have buildings, roads, streets, and you can delete them from here. You can do other nitty-gritty operations from here. So if you need to send this to a colleague, all you have to do is to just send one file, this project database, and they can find the other layers in it. So maybe it's per project. You can do it that way, or it depends, whatever works best. maybe you want each layer to be just a one file on its own. Excuse me. So let's put the sorry. I just drink some water. Okay. So generally, when you are working, you have a point on the top, the lines next, and then the polygons. Why? Because if polygons are on top of lines, they will block them. It depends on the case you want to use them. And then if lines are below polygon, it will block them. So let's look at what is happening here. So I will add just more trees. I will just click here. These are not useful. Like you can click OK because I said I can leave them now. I'll just add some random trees. Yeah, okay. And then some random trees. Yeah, some random trees all around. And then I want to add a road. So you can see when I switch the kind of item you want to do, you can do several things. Maybe set tolerance if you have experience with CAD and want to do angles, specific whatever, you can do them. So I want to make a road here. So I click. So if you click, you see a trailing red line. And then when you are done, this I keep doing with the left mark. When I'm done, I use the right click of the mouse and it pops up. The name of this, I'll call it maybe Yard Street. I don't know the width and all those stuff, so I just click OK. Then maybe I add another street from here, which is connecting. But you can see that in the real world, things connect, but here you don't see any kind of connection. That's what we call snapping. So if you are dealing with lines, you have to do a snap. So here I need to turn on snap. Let's see. So now you see I reduce I set it to, maybe I reduce this a bit, all layers, active layer. Then you see something popping up. You see a violet or pink box. So it's snap, meaning that it's going to be connected to it. So you can run, so your processing or your analysis based on that. So I add a new street here. I call it, where's street? And then maybe I add another one here. And then I call it what? I just call it maybe Iron Street. Okay. Now, we have a couple of streets here. That is nice. We can now add buildings. So I have not saved this. Remember, anytime you do this, you need to save. So I save. I can now disable editing on this layer. And then I can also save this one and then disable editing. A good question would be, what happens when I disable editing without saving? It prompts you, just like you are closing your normal software without saving, tells you, oh, save before you prompt. So I go to edit here. And then now you see it's a polygon. So I can add some buildings here. So I can add one here. You see now I am clicking a couple of buttons, 4 or 3, before making a building. So this building, I don't know the name, it pops up here. By default, QGIS assigns some symbology, some color, random color to it, okay? So let's do another building here, but buildings have different shapes. I call this, maybe I give it a height of 2. And then I do another one here. I give it a height of 1, okay? And then another one here. And I give it a height of 1 as well. Now, somebody could say, but build this a rectangle. Is there not a way to do this faster? You can do everything. You can do it. It's just that I don't want to do too much here to confuse you, but everything you can think of can be done. All you have to do is look for it. So, for example, in this advanced digitizing toolbar, you can do angles and stuff and many other things. For example, the easy one for a rectangle should be where? Dividing a panel. No, I don't want the panel. I just want to create this. Let's see. No, this is not the time to play around. So let's close it and go ahead. So I need to stop editing here. So disable editing, toggle editing, and then it prompts me out to save. So I save. Remember to save your project. So if I close QGIS now, I close this entirely. You see that the recent project is here. I can open it, and then you see where we last left off from. Okay. Now, what can we do? We can do some symbology. We can do labeling. We can export this as a map, a plan, and give it to our boss. but I removed this from the base. This is a new area we are working on. So the trees don't look good. So maybe I want to change how they look. So I can go to properties here, and then you go to symbology. So maybe I want the trees to have a green dot. This is preset. You can change every color of it. So I apply. When you apply, then you see the effect. They are looking green dots. Okay. The roads, maybe I want to see the name of the streets. So I go back here. That is what we call labeling. So I come here, then I go to labels. Then I go symbol label. And then because this data has an attribute attached to it, if you go right click and open attribute table, you can see it. So if you get the data from somewhere, there is a special component, and then there is a thematic, or this is the data, the text data behind it, you know. So you see it's attached to each element. So if I click on this one, it selects that road on the map. Do you see? And then if I click here, it selects it. If I click here, it selects the other one. And then you can still edit things after adding them. All you have to do is click this pencil, and now I can add the width of this road to be 4, 2, 1, just like the way you would do in your normal spreadsheet or Excel. Yeah, then I can disable editing. So now I want to give them a name. So I right click properties, and I go to label. I use a single label, and then on this side here, I don't see anything. So I choose a name, then I apply. Let's see what happens. Okay. On this, you can already see that we have a West Street, we have this blah, blah, blah. But maybe I want it to be exactly on the street. Maybe I want it to be spread out. I want it to, I mean, you can do several things. I want a different font for it. Maybe I want to use a light font, and I click apply, and you see how it's looking. Or maybe I want to use this font Ubuntu. Let's see how it looks. Apply, and you see it. Okay, we want it to be placed along the line. So if the line is curved, we can see that. So let's say we come to rendering or placement. Yeah, that's placement. It's parallel now. You can change it to curved, and you do apply, and you see what happens. You can see it's a bit following the line topology, how the line is crooked, or we can put it on the line. So let's see, and then we move above the line and apply, and you see now it's on the line, but it's still interfering with maybe the line is not showing well. We can put a buffer. So we put a buffer and apply, and you see, okay, always you can see that I'm clicking apply before okay. But QGIS has a layer styling panel. So when you click here and then you drag here, what we were doing the other side, you could see them, but now you can live update and change them as you go. So for example, I want to change the color of the lines. I click here, I deselect all other things here with this one. So we see this one as well. So we have this, I arranged it. Maybe I want to increase the font of this test to a bigger one. You can just scroll on the mouse, and then you see the font size increasing. Now the buildings is here. And then we still have, this is symbology. You go to properties. It's the same thing you see from properties, you see in the styling panel, but it's more convenient for me to just grab it from here, or for you to do that from this side. Let's say we want to be able to show the buildings based on their height. How do we see it? So now all of them have one color. But let's say we want our boss to know that, oh, this building has height 2, height 3, height. How do you do it? Okay, from the attribute table, we can see that there is some height information. Some are 2, 1, 1. Okay, let's say I edit and I put 3 here. And then I save and disable. No, I don't want the form thing. Then I close. Now, in the symbology, we have different kinds of way that you can style. You can do. So I want to use categorize. So this choose a field and classifies it. So I want the height. And then when I classify, now you see that items that have the height of 1 are showing the same color. This is a random one. You can change the color if you wish. And so on and so forth. And then the trees also, you could, if you want the tree symbol to be there, like let's say the icon of a tree, you can use the marker type called SVG marker. And then you see there are a couple of items here. Food, okay, not food, don't do that. A landmark, not a landmark. Okay, let's just assume that I don't see tree, but you can find the icon for a tree from somewhere and import it here. So I'll just use no, water tap, it doesn't look good. Don't do this. I just put the fire icon there, and then we zoom in, we make the icon big, and then maybe change the color to a red or something pinky. And then you can see already that it's adjusting and it's there and it's ready. Now, you want to give this to your boss or somebody for a report as a PDF or whatever. What can you do quickly? You can just do export here as a PNG image. And then, yeah, then you click on map canvas extent and you get, this is the canvas. And then you can save. I can save this to the project folder called, now I need a folder called outputs, just to keep things organized. You can already have this structure before you start working. So I call this test one, or maybe just test, and it's saved. If I click on this link, it shows me this in a very nice PNG that you can put in your report. It looks like it's just one image, but it's coming from 3 layers. In the same way, you can apply this in other domains. So quickly, I will save this project, I will stop, and then we will look at something practical. Now, one thing I would like to show here is how you can now collect data from the field yourself with your own phone or with your own image. I mentioned that this is primary, but let's say you don't want to do primary. You want to start from somewhere. Let me see how many minutes we have. We have a few minutes. You want to start from somewhere. That is how come the data sources is important. What is it? Yeah, so data sources, this one. It's very useful because it's not always that you want to start from scratch. You want something to start from. So OpenStreetMap is a place where you can get data from, or you can push data and everybody uses. So in the beginning, when I started, I added OpenStreetMap in the bottom, so I can do again. I start here, then I put here, then this is OpenStreetMap. When we're going to Ghana, you can see some, like quite a ton of data. But how do you get this data? One source that you can get this data from is called GeoFabric. GeoFabric, which is here. So we go to Africa, and you go to, where is Ghana? Ghana. You can get this data completely in shapefile format. I didn't talk about shapefile, but when I download this, let me just download, and then we look at how it's looking. But as we wait for that to download, the next thing I would like to talk about, it's we all take pictures with our smartphones. And then when you take a picture, the phone is telling you that this picture was taken near a road. This is one way that you could collect the data, primary data. So I have some pictures prepared here. So in QGIS, there's something called processing. And this processing here, it's like the powerhouse where you have all the tools. There are many things that you can do. How many trees are within a polygon, or let's say how many billboards are within a Sherman, if you know the area of a Sherman or where you are working, etc. So I will just want to show what we call import geotag. So processing, and then toolbox here, and it's called import is geotag. I think geotag photos. So these photos, if you take a picture with your phone and it's telling that this picture was taken near a street, you should know that that picture is geotagged. And your phone is really powerful that you can use just your phone and take a picture and use it to improve the workflow with QGIS in your company or something. So I have prepared some pictures. It's here, and it's here in this folder. So we will just open, and then I will run. Now it runs, and it's in total, we have a new layer now. It's called photos. If I zoom to this, you see that this is a lot of pictures scattered across Ghana. I will change the symbology to a red dot so we can see what across Ghana. So let's see. What is this? So I just use the identify. So I didn't talk about this. If you want to see what is the data behind a feature, either point or line, you use the identify here. The shortcut is Ctrl+Shift-I. When you click on the item, then it pops up something, you know. But now it's showing so many things. It's I right click here and I choose show feature count. And then when you click on, I will make this that auto open form when the feature is 1. Okay, so I will zoom in here. Okay, so in OpenStreetMap, there is a health center here. So let's see what is in this picture here. Okay, the picture is here. I zoom in, I expand. So from your mobile phone, you can see that when you take a picture and it's geotagged, it's recording information such as altitude, direction, longitude, and latitude. These two alone here makes the picture geotagged, and then the date and the timestamp and what this item here it is. And if I click here, it will be, yeah, so this is from a signpost, and this is confirming that, yeah, actually, this in OpenStreetMap is right. You can see the help center. So you could use this as a method of doing quality assurance or monitoring, etc., within your organization or company or collecting data. And from this already, you can see that there are a lot of data points here. So for now, if this is supposed to be dustbins, then you can now create a new layer. So vector, layer, create a layer, new geo package. I'll just call this maybe bins. So now I say, what kind of geometry is it? It's a point. I will not add any field for now. Maybe I can just do name. And then add the text and okay. So from here I can edit, and then now I start adding useful information from this. So I add this a bin. Okay. What else is there? So now I'm collecting information based on information that I have already surveyed. And other things you could do is that, okay, maybe you want to know the direction of where the person was and took the picture. So I will choose an icon which is like an arrow pointing somewhere. Let's see, maybe this one. It's a red dot now. I will make it bigger to maybe something larger. Okay. Now, in QGIS, you see the symbology of this. You can see rotation here. So we have a field from that is created for us, which is called direction. And you can see that it's pointing somewhere. So if we zoom in to several places, we can come to Accra from some pictures here I have in Accra. Let's look at probably maybe this one, which is pointing in this direction. If I click on this, it shows something here. So it's a Hisense billboard there. So it's definitely on a long building, and then it's the car is coming from probably this side and going this way. Let's look at another one. If it's true, this one here should be facing the intersection. And yeah, so this is facing a house. The house is not mapped, but you can see that the person, or when I was taking this picture, I was on this road and the direction is straight. So I think the time is just not on our side. And then I'll have to stop here. If you have any question, I don't know if you still can access the chat team. But if you have any question, you can feel free to ask. But yeah, this is just a tip of the iceberg. And then there are a lot of resources out there that you can use. One useful one, it's this one that I can share with you. I shared, it's in that part. It's about extensive use of QGIS and all these things here. These are basic operations that helps you. And if you're able to go to this tutorial, maybe just the basic one or from start to finish, you will definitely find a way to integrate GIS into your workflow. So if you have any question, I leave my email here. You can just do this. Okay, let's do OPA. Yeah. Yeah, you can, this is my email address. I put in the chat again for anybody who wants to, and then we can connect. So thank you very much. If you don't have any question, I think I downloaded the data for Ghana, which is done here. We can just look at it from OpenStreetMap. It comes as a shape file, then I extract here. If you extract, you see several files. You know, a shape file is not just one file, several files in it. And if I just try to drag this and put it in QGIS, what is QGIS? Yeah, if I drag this and put it in QGIS, you should see so many, it's not working. Yeah, you should see so many layers. It doesn't work. It's not loading. Okay, it's loading, I think. I think just, yeah, good. Yeah, a lot of them. So you can see all these layers from OpenStreetMap, and it's several of them. And each of these points or these layers has a definition from the GeoFabric website that you can see. So you have a starting point for your project or whatever you want to do. Okay, I think that's all on my side. And there is another session coming up. If you are a journalist or you want to illustrate the news with the maps, yeah, we'll look at quickly, briefly, some of these things again. and how to apply it in journalism. Thank you very much, and have a nice day or conference. If you have any question, please feel free to send me an email or ask. Use the links I put in the pad there. They should definitely. This is looking very horrible, but this is a lot of data. But it's still a lot is still needed in OpenStreetMap, and you can use it for whatever you feel like. Okay, that's it.